Do you find yourself constantly getting drawn towards toxic environments? If that's you, this video will give you 8 steps of things to look out for early on so that you can start to finally stay away from those environments before it's too late. First point is second chances. If you have been in toxic relationships or work environments, whatever it might be, as a repeated pattern, then you're probably an expert at second chances. And when I say second chances, I don't mean ending at the second chance, I mean over and over again. It's the chances that keep repeating themselves. So when you see red flags, it's ignoring the red flags and carrying on. So the way around that is, when you see red flags, address the issue head on. If they get defensive, then you will know that the environment is toxic and you need to head the other way. But this is why it's important to set your expectations early on. Set your expectations of what your basic respectful behavior is. So that if those expectations are not met, then you will not stick around to see it happen again and repeat itself. Second chances are excuses, right? They're excuses and justifying of the behavior that you're experiencing. When you give someone a second chance, you're justifying in some way that what they're doing has a reason. That maybe it's because of their traumatic past, for example, or maybe it's because they've had a stressful day, or maybe you're even blaming yourself and gaslighting yourself, saying, oh, I should do this or that differently. So it's easy to try and make a relationship fit, even when it's not good for you. And even when it doesn't fit, it's easy to try and mold it so that because you want to make it fit. So that's really important to be aware of. Second point is, we all need to understand ourselves. We need to understand our behavior, what causes us to react a certain way, our negative patterns, and what might be triggering them, our vulnerabilities, our blind spots, so the causes, of our reactions that might be due to limiting beliefs. Because if we start this process, then we will know what we get drawn towards, the unhealthy patterns that we get drawn towards. So understand your backstory so that you know what you're drawn to. You might be a codependent, for instance, or maybe you've been around codependence most of your life. Maybe you end up noticing that you're a rescuer and you have that tendency. Or maybe you grew up around a narcissist, and understanding that will help you notice patterns that are happening for you today. So understand yourself and those patterns that you're drawn to. Awareness is everything. Third point is, trust your gut. Stop trying to intellectualize that uncomfortable feeling that you feel when you get a warning sign. And also, be careful who you get your advice from. People might have the best of intentions, but they can also sometimes be naive and enable the situation, enable the toxic situation for you. It might make you it might fill you with a sense of self-doubt, doubting your own thoughts and feelings. And it might drive you away from trusting your own gut. Only you know at the end of the day what's right for you. And listening to everyone else's voices has a tendency to cloud our own inner voice sometimes. So beware of that and trust your own gut. Fourth point is, trauma bond is not love. Don't confuse love and abuse. It's so easy to, if you find yourself in an abusive relationship, to say, but I love them. No, abuse is not love. They're very different things and they can easily be confused. Don't confuse the two. Trauma bond is not love. Fifth point is this. Don't get lost in the love bombing process. Life is not a fairy tale. What narcissistic people or sometimes toxic people will do is they'll do grandiose gestures, show you all of these incredible things, take you to incredible places, wine and dine you like a king or queen. Life is not a fairy tale. Hold out for something that is less grandiose and that's more connected to something meaningful, and connected to the fundamentals of respect. Those are the important things, not the big grandiose gestures and magical fairy tale dinners and trips or whatever it might be. Like I said earlier, set your expectations. Have those fundamentals of respect clear so that you know what you're looking for. Also, beware of labeling them as soulmates, especially early on. They might make you say things like, oh, no one's understood me in that way, but then they will go and throw, and gaslight you. That is not a soulmate, okay? They might make you believe that no one, will understand you in the way that they will. Again, that's gaslighting. So beware of believing that and labeling them as your soulmate. These are just distractions. They're illusions. They're not reality. They're things that they're trying to make you see and believe that are not true. It's like a mirage of reality. It's not reality. Point number 6 is don't move too fast. Moving in together after a week, or staying over at each other's house every single night. Especially for narcissists in this case, the quicker they can get you on the hook, the quicker they can get you in, the quicker they can start devaluing you and controlling you. The more you become stuck and the more deep you get into it emotionally, the faster they will have, or they'll be able to control you and devalue you and get you sucked into all this abusive behavior. So don't move too fast. In some cases, I even know this from my own past experience, but some of us might actually be afraid to ask for things to slow down out of fear of losing them or losing the relationship. But here's the thing with that. If we assert ourselves and say, actually, things are moving a bit too fast for what I'm ready for. If you say that and get pushed back and they get defensive, then that might actually be a real problem. Yes, it takes courage to speak up and assert ourselves, but these are the signs. If you get a sense of defensiveness, or if your needs and your feelings are invalidated or not validated, then it might really be a sign of a real problem. Okay. Point number 7. When you notice yourself being gaslighted, so if you're not sure what gaslighting means, refer to one of my previous videos, but a brief outline is gaslighting on manipulative statements. It's when people are saying something to you to try and make you believe something that is not reality. They're trying to make you believe that your reality is their reality. Okay? So when you notice yourself being gaslighted, head the other way. In other words, it's not acceptable. It's emotional abuse. Gaslighting, there's no two ways about it. Gaslighting is emotional abuse. It's manipulation. If you're in a place where you're not quite prepared to go the other way right away, then assert yourself about it. Be clear with them about it. Don't ignore it. And if you're met in return, if they respond with more gaslighting, then you'll know for sure. Then you'll know that it's your time to leave. Okay. Point number 8, my final point. Don't make big sacrifices early on. Especially in relationships, this applies to, right? Don't make big sacrifices early on. You've got people moving countries for the other person, leaving their whole family, friends, job, or education for the other person. They might make you believe that they can give you all of the things that you want, all the things you dream of. Especially with narcissists, they will want to isolate you so that they can have their control over you. So having you taken away from all of the things that represent your life right now works in their favor, because their intention is to isolate you so that they can grab hold of you and control you. So beware of making big sacrifices early on. Hold on to the life that you have somewhat. Healthy relationships are more balanced. You have a life of your own and they have a life of your own, and you add to each other. It doesn't involve big sacrifices. It involves compromises, not sacrifices. There's a difference. Okay. Now, when it comes to big sacrifices, empaths and rescuers are experts at that, because as empaths, it feeds us to make other people happy. And as rescuers as well, a lot of empaths are rescuers and many are codependents as well. So naturally we are rescuers. Again, codependency, I've done videos on this, so please refer back. You might find it helpful to identify some behaviors, especially if you are a rescuer and an overgiver, okay? So yeah, especially with empaths and rescuers, we easily get caught up in helping other people, and often, unfortunately, sacrificing ourselves for it. So especially if you're an empath or a highly sensitive person, be aware of this. If you assert yourself and you are being rejected, again, if you are being rejected for being authentic and true to yourself and asking for the things that you need, whether it's because you want to continue your education and you don't want to leave early, or if you don't want to leave your home or your country, or whatever it is that they're asking you to give up. If you are rejected for asserting that, that is emotional abuse. Okay, there's no two ways about it. That is emotional abuse. Again, a healthy relationship is balanced, where both people's needs are respected and heard. So if you're able to get out, okay, that's emotional abuse and it's not acceptable. So to end this video, I just want to really say this. If you are someone who is finding yourself getting into these types of relationships or entering these types of environments and it feels quite repeated, don't consider yourself an unlucky person. It's a learning journey. People who have been in toxic environments and have gotten out of them are some of the strongest people in the world. Once you have been through that, you'll be able to manage most things in life, okay? So don't consider yourself unlucky. In fact, consider yourself lucky to be with yourself and to have the mind that you have that is keen to learn and keen to improve. Knowing how to respond towards toxic people or narcissists is a skill that is invaluable. Once you have that skill, once you know how to set these types of boundaries, like the ones I expressed today, then the way you communicate with people will change forever. So don't consider yourself unlucky. You are lucky to be with yourself, and you are lucky to have the mind that you have and the curiosity that you have. It's teaching you things to avoid in the future. It's teaching you things so that you can make your life better in future, so you don't enter these types of patterns again in future. And that's what this inner work is all about. If you're finding yourself in a struggle to break these patterns, and some of my videos are helpful somewhat, but not quite enough, that's okay too. again, you're not an unlucky person. You just might need a little bit more of a helping hand, which most of us, to be honest, do in life. So please reach out and drop me a message and we can have a chat privately about it, okay? I'd be more than happy to help have a discussion, and my phone calls are no obligation as well. So if you're not sure, then we can have a chat about it and take it from there. All right, guys, it's been a pleasure, and please drop me any comments or questions if you've got any. Take care.